Welcome to the first episode of Full Court Podcast, this brand new podcast on basketnews.com. I'm your host, Orazio Cauchi, and on this podcast, we're going to cover several topics from all around European basketball. So we're going to have guests from all around Europe. And for this first episode of this brand new podcast, I have as a guest my colleague of basketnews.com, Begum Unal. Begum, welcome.
Hi, thank you for the invitation.
So with Begum, we're going to talk about mostly about German basketball. Begum has been living in Germany for a while now, so she's familiar with German basketball. So we're going to cover with her many different topics about German basketball, of course, starting with the Euroleague teams, Bayern Munich and ALBA Berlin, and then moving on a little bit with the Eurocup, which started just last night with Hamburg and Ulm, who are the German teams for this season in Eurocup. So we're gonna begin with of course with the Euroleague and with Bayern Munich. Bayern had a difficult start of this Euroleague season. As of right now, they're still winless after 4 games. Some of them, that they were really close, very close game against Maccabi Tel Aviv, against Unix Kazan, games that Bayern could have won with a little bit more of luck and a better handling of the last minutes of the game. But so far, Coach Andrea Trinchieri team is still without a win. Of course, Bayern has been without several very important players, key players, for example, in Vladimir Lucic. There have been absences. Of course, this summer, the team lost a couple of very important players in Wade Baldwin and Jalen Reynolds. So now they're still trying to find their chemistry and their rhythm. The offense is working, decently, but it could be better. Bayern, as of right now, is scoring only 70 points per game, a little bit more than 70 points. And so I want to ask Begum, what's your general opinion about Bayern so far in this beginning of the season? Do you feel that they are a little bit afraid of this situation, or maybe they were expecting, this difficult beginning of the season?
Well, I would call Bayern as the unfortunate team of the season because they've been struggling with the injuries at the beginning from the preparation period, and then the COVID hit the team. They missed some of their preparation games as well. There was a tournament that was cancelled because of Bayern's COVID cases here in Germany. And I really would call the team as very unfortunate. And on the other side, I don't think that we should put the alarm on that the bells are not ringing yet. The alarm bells are not ringing yet for Bayern. And as Coach Andrea Trinchieri said last weekend, I just want to quote him, everything is under control except the things that cannot be under control. So this is the situation at Bayern. First injuries and then the COVID. They've been missing the key players. It's not like, some okay players. It's like all the players that they are missing, that they were missing, some of them started coming back. Also with the Žalgiris game, Lucic is being back finally after a very long time again. They've been missing a lot of players. So it's like it was with the Andreas Obst, Vladimir Lucic, Leon Radošević is still out, and they don't really have the deadline for him. And Nihat Djedovic was injured, and they had also Hunter, I believe. Yeah, Hunter was injured as well at the beginning of the season. So that's like they have more names, in fact, that are that were missing. And then they started just coming back, but Bayern was not able to do a training with all the squad together. And this is a problem for Trinchieri's team because, when you are missing your experienced players, the players that know the team, and also the players that should be even in your starting five, and then you have to make up a new five. And at the same time, you're playing a lot of games. Last week was a double week game, and they were in Russia in like so many days. In a few days, they play a lot of games. And at the same time, German league is not so easy. And on Bayern's side, those players that are injured, they are also the German players. So they don't have players to put on the roster. And the ones that he had, the younger ones, they don't put any, I would say, effort. Like, for sure, they put a lot of some effort, but it's not enough. And it's like you're playing for a club with ambitions. It's not about the Bayern name only, but it's a club that is having the ambitions to be the domestic league title holder. Like, they want to win the championship here in Germany, and they want to do good things in the EuroLeague. And then there's the German Cup. And when your younger players, when they need to step up, they don't step up, then you are missing. So this is the situation. But I think Bayern will be back on track soon.
Yeah, of course, as you said, there have been many problems in this beginning of the season, and Coach Trinchieri will do his best to try to fix the situation. We saw in the last game how passionate it is. As always, he was very, very mad at Augustin Rubit in a couple of situations, especially after some pick-and-roll defense that he didn't like. So, of course, Bayern still has a lot of time to fix this situation, considering that, of course, the season is still very long, and they will recover, of course, some players, and they will be able to bounce back a little bit. Of course, there is still a lot of expectation on the team. Last season, they made the playoffs. They've been very, very close to reach the Final Four, because the series against Milano, it was very close. It was a real fight for both teams. So there is still a lot of expectation on Bayern, and despite the beginning of the season, there is definitely still hope for them. As also our colleague Jonas just wrote in an article for basketnews.com. You should check it out. So moving on, we're gonna talk about a little bit about ALBA Berlin, the other German EuroLeague team. Of course, also for ALBA Berlin, this start of the season hasn't been very, very easy. Of course, many changes for ALBA too during the summer. Coach Aito is no longer there. Coach Gonzalez now is the head coach, and they lost some very important players over the summer. Of course, Simone Fontecchio is no longer there after a breakout season in Germany. He moved to Baskonia. Other players left the team, and of course, having to change the coach when most of the off season is already done, it's always a difficult thing to do. And as of right now, ALBA is with 1 win and 3 losses. Their only win was a prestigious one, so against Fenerbahce, in a game in which ALBA played a fantastic second half and forced Fenerbahce to the loss. And in ALBA Berlin, we also have probably one of the biggest surprises in the start of the season, who is Oscar Da Silva, a young German forward, a Stanford alum. He already played in Germany. He joined Ludwigsburg in March after the end of his experience in college. He did well in his stint there. The original idea was to stay just for a while to prepare for the 2021 NBA draft, but then, Da Silva wasn't selected in the draft. And in the very last part of the transfer market, he joined ALBA Berlin on a multi-year deal. His addition was a late one, but so far he has been very, very productive, because Da Silva is averaging 17 points per game with 5.7 rebounds. He's shooting an impressive 71% from 2 points. So far he has been really, really impressive for ALBA. And so I wanted to ask you, Begum, what do you think about ALBA start of the season so far? And if Oscar Da Silva was a surprise also for many German people, if they were a little bit surprised about his impressive start of this EuroLeague season.
Well, I mean, when it comes to ALBA, I feel like they are slightly weaker than the last season.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, I'm going to say slightly because they have some potential players as well.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is being Da Silva. Until now, he's been proving himself, his talent. But at the same time, they have the other young guys, Stefan Penno, like since he has been like in under 14 or so, I've been watching his games and he was a good prospect. And with the injuries and so on, he could never do this jump, but he has still the chance. He has a talent. Then they have Zosman, they have Tamir Blat, and interesting guys. And then some guys with experience and some guys that could easily play in teams with bigger ambitions like Luke Sigma and Eriksson and so on. So ALBA is an interesting team. So they are like, even when it comes to Fontecchio, he was lost somehow in the Italian league for seasons. Even when he was in Milano, okay, he was very young, but he was never given the chance and he was very like not ready, or he was not maybe given the right chance back in Milano. Then in the Italian league, he was lost and then somebody just picked him up. He was almost forgotten somehow. And now he's in Baskonia and he has a big role in Baskonia and he has been doing good so far. So again, this team as well has a potential and we will see what is going to happen. And I always feel ALBA in this sense as a project team because they are able to bring some players, but this is in general the German league for the players who want to prove themselves to the bigger leagues, bigger organizations, or however you want to call, or bigger organizations, meaning that where there is more money, because in the German league, the salaries are paid on time, but the amount you get is somehow relatively low compared to most of the European leagues that we are familiar with. But for those who want to make a jump in their career, German league is a very great one. And this is Da Silva. He's showing that he wants to play basketball, I would say. And he expected to be drafted. He was not, but the life is going on. I love the sport. Then I continue with it. And this is what he's doing. And I really appreciate it. And I really wish some young guys from Bayern were doing the similar type of job.
Yeah, as you said, ALBA has always been very good at developing players, finding players that are a little bit diamonds in the rough, and they are able to develop their games. And as you said, Fontecchio has been a great example of that kind of policy. He arrived from Cremona in Italy. He was a little bit lost, let's say, in the Italian league. He wasn't really showcasing all his talent. He arrived in ALBA Berlin. He played just one season there, but he was enough to show all his potential. He really shined under Cauchi's system, and he became one of the most interesting forwards in Europe. And even this season, it's clear that ALBA wants to follow that kind of path with, of course, with the addition of Da Silva, also with another guy like Jovel Zuzman, but also like a guy like Jalen Smith, who just arrived from Ludwigsburg. He played a fantastic season there. He was the MVP of the German league last season. He was followed by many teams during the summer. He was a target for several teams. He played the summer league in the NBA with the Phoenix Suns, but in the end, ALBA was able to convince him with more of a long-term project. And I think that that is something that some players need to really develop their potential and fulfill their potential.
And I want to mention a little bit about, we need to actually mention a little bit about the Ludwigsburg in this case, because last season, Nick Weiler came from Ludwigsburg, and Jalen Smith and Oscar Da Silva and the John Patrick is doing interesting stuff there. It's a small organization, small city, but at the same time, they're also kind of a project. I mean, they're not, they don't really have this bigger budgets like, okay, for the German league, Bayern and ALBA have bigger budgets, obviously.
Yes.
They do not have those budgets, but for those who really want to play, they are given the chance. Not just for the players, obviously, it's also for the coaches. This season, for Coach Israel Gonzalez, it's a challenge as well. So he has been part of ALBA for quite a time now, and he worked with one of the best European coaches, I would say, with Aito, and he learned a lot. He knew from himself, and now he has the opportunity to show what he can do. And this is, I believe, something unique to German league, in fact.
Yeah. So now let's try to move on a little bit to the Eurocup teams, and with Begum we are going to focus a little bit more on the Hamburg Towers. It's a very interesting project, a team, let's say, a little bit on the rise. Hamburg and Ulm are the two Eurocup teams. They both lost in the last night debut in Eurocup, but of course, they also faced very tough competition, especially Hamburg. They were playing against Partizan Belgrade, who is probably the biggest contender to win the title of the Eurocup this season, along with Virtus Bologna. So to talk a little bit about Hamburg, of course, Hamburg is a very important city in Germany. It's the second biggest city in the country. And in 2013, it was founded, this project of Hamburg Towers, with very important contribution from former basketball player Pascal Roller. He was one of the main guys to develop this project. And Hamburg, the last team that he was in Hamburg, he basically disappeared in 2002. Because of financial trouble, financial issues. And so from 2002 to 2013, Hamburg didn't have a team in the German basketball. So in 2013, they got this new team. They created this new team. They received the license, the opportunity to play in German second division. And from that point, they were able to build this project, and now this is going to be their third season in the top league. Last season they finished the regular season at the 7th place, so they had a very positive season. This season they are going to play in Eurocup, and again, it looks like they are a little bit a team on the rise, also because, as Begum mentioned before, there are a lot of interesting teams in Germany, but a lot of them, they are from very small markets, from small cities, Ludwigsburg, Ulm, Rashta Vecta, all these teams, they come from very small towns when they are compared, especially to a city like Hamburg. So the possibility of having a very stable presence in Hamburg, it's something that is very intrigued also for the EuroLeague, because of course EuroLeague is always trying to find teams in very important markets that can bring a lot of attention and popularity, especially when it comes to the TV numbers. And Ordi Bertomeu in a recent interview said that their main focus right now is on Central Europe, in countries like France, Germany, because they saw a great increase in the numbers from that country. So I wanted to ask to Begum, what do you think about this project in Hamburg, and if your perspective there in Germany is that there is actually a lot of interest in them also in the country.
So when we when we want to talk about the project in Hamburg, we need to mention what is happening in the German basketball. So the team with the most titles was Leverkusen, Bayern Leverkusen, and it's a town with like 30,000 people or so. It's just like 20 minutes away by train from Köln. So it's like this Düsseldorf, Dortmund, Leverkusen in this area, Köln. They're very close to each other, and among those, Leverkusen is pretty small, and although they have more titles than any other German team, they don't exist anymore really, because it's a small town. Like, it's not just about having the pro team, it's about growing new generations of people who want to play basketball. But in a city like Leverkusen, when you have a basketball game and football game, yeah, football is for sure the most popular sport in the country. So there are no people who could be really interested. Even if they want to, people have limited time. They cannot go to the Leverkusen games. And then this doesn't really exist anymore.
Yeah.
And although I really like the teams like Bamberg, Ludwigsburg, Ulm, and Oldenburg, all of them are really great teams and great projects. There's a lot of investment, and there are a lot of people trying to do a lot of things, but those are very local at the same time. So Bamberg is a really, really small town. It's like the freak city. It's really the games, atmospheres are amazing, but it's so small. Nobody else, like not even the people in Nuremberg or Nuremberg, how it is called in English, will be supporting. They don't even care about the Bamberg game. So because it's just a Bamberg team.
Yeah.
And that's why you really need bigger city teams, bigger cities to invest in the sport if you want to grow this sport. This is in general like this, and I understand this. And when it comes to Hamburg, as you mentioned, it's the second biggest city in the country. It's an international city. It has there are a lot of companies that come from Hamburg. So there are a lot of sponsorship opportunities as well, because this is what we need in the sport. You need money. Passion is important, but also you need money. And Hamburg has these opportunities. They already have a bigger arena with 10,000+ capacity, although the team is not yet playing there. Maybe in the future they could move. And when it comes to Hamburg, I really believe that for German basketball to grow, it's a key market. So there's a big team from Berlin on the kind of like the east, when you look at the German map, northeast, and then you have a proper northern team from Hamburg, and then from the south, another big city from the Munich. Hope to see a team from Köln, because historically the team from Köln was also a very important team, but unfortunately at that part the team is now in the third league. So I really appreciate the efforts put by Pascal Roller, because this is very important for the European basketball community to work on such a project and trying to also like work with the kids. And in this part, we need to say thank you to Marvin Willoughby, the current GM of the team, also the sports director, because when there was no team from Hamburg in the BBL, he was investing in the little kids with a project called Sports Without Border, I guess. And he was investing in the little kids to love the sport, love our sport. So this is very important. Those people, thanks to them, there's a team now in Hamburg. They're playing in a European competition, and they have a promising coach, Pedro Calles. He's an important part of the German basketball at the moment, because what he did with Rasta Vechta and now what he is doing with the Hamburg Towers team, this is very valuable for the European basketball community, not only for Germany. And when we look at it from the EuroLeague side, I actually question, when there is an arena in Hamburg, why again Berlin is hosting the next Final Four. If again Germany will host it, maybe Hamburg did not candidate, but I'm not sure about this because they have an arena. Everybody would love their arena to be occupied, to be honest. So I wish actually Final Four to be in Hamburg this season instead of Berlin, although I love Berlin as well. No, nothing about this. I like Mercedes-Benz Arena. It's a very nice one, great atmosphere. But it would be actually interesting to see the Final Four there in Hamburg. We'll see.
Yeah, and of course, we will definitely take a closer look at what's going to happen in Hamburg with this very interesting project. EuroLeague, of course, is also given a very close look to what's happening in Paris with Paris basketball, which is another team that we might see in EuroLeague basketball in a few years. But of course, the situation is also a little bit unstable, especially when it comes to the position of Ordi Bertomeu. There's been trouble for him. The teams, at least some of them, they are not completely satisfied with his ability to handle the business, especially when it comes to the financial side. Some teams are not happy with how the situation is going. So we will see what's going to happen on that front. There might be some updates, some news in the coming weeks. So for this first episode of Full Court Podcast, I believe it's everything. I want to thank, of course, Begum to be a part of this. Thank you very much, Begum, for your contribution. Thank you for being here.
And then I go to my EuroLeague games. I'm like having a look. Oh my God, the score is not so good. I see. Okay.
Yes.
There's a problem. We need to record this again, I guess.
Yes, it's going to be again time for EuroLeague. And so for this first episode of Full Court Podcast, it's everything. You will find this podcast and many other contents, of course, on basketnews.com. So remember to follow the website, follow the YouTube channel. You'll find some very great contents there. So from Full Court Podcast, it's everything. We'll see you very soon.